I find it interesting how people that I respect in this industry really don't like Mike and his presence on his platform. And today I'm going to react to a YouTube video from one of my favorite YouTubers, Jeffrey Verity Schofield, who seems not to like Mike Israetel. And I'll be giving my thoughts while watching this video on his shit PhD. So let's get into it.
So the initial video that kind of set everything off was Solomon Nelson's video from about a week ago, September 30th, which now has almost 1.2 million views. And in this video, he has a scathing critique of Mike Israetel's PhD work, where he details data issues, proofreading issues, spelling issues, just a whole myriad of stuff that makes Mike look really, really bad, as well as the whole program at Eastern Tennessee State University. Then on Milo Wolf's channel, Milo and Mike said that actually Solomon had only critiqued a draft. It was not the final copy. They actually had the final copy, which they presented in a Google document.
This PhD thing doesn't even really matter, in my opinion. You know, it's the last thing I look at trying to decide who I listen to. Maybe if it's like a skinny guy that doesn't even go to the gym, then the skinny guy who has a PhD, I will trust over the skinny guy that doesn't have a PhD. But in my opinion, or for me, I don't really care.
And as an aside, and this is personal opinion, I think if Mike didn't lean so hard on his PhD, it wouldn't have fallen over. A lot of this came from really just shoving this degree down people's throats, and so that he kind of brought a lot of this on himself.
I don't know. If I would be Mike and I had a PhD, I would probably use it in my thumbnails as well and mention it. Even though I wouldn't believe in it, I know that people believe in that stuff and it's just free extra engagement. I don't think it's wrong, it's just playing the game. Yeah.
There are a few issues with this. It was a draft narrative, especially the Google document that they had provided. First, the dates. The version that they presented was from March 2013. That was the date that was written. The version that Solomon used was August 2013. I mean, that alone is pretty damning, as Milo would say. Explain that. How do you mess up a date? Have you ever been, working along in March and accidentally written August on your paper, or vice versa? You don't mess up the month, okay? Next, there are edits here on the document itself from October 3rd. October 3rd, 2013, right now, 2025. October 3rd, 2025. Like a few days ago. Yeah. Next, number 4, the document appears to be kind of stitched together, where part of it is a Word document. You can select the words, and then part of it is kind of like a file scan. This doesn't look good, but it also might be part of the file. I think normally if you have a PhD, you would just upload a whole PDF.
Yeah, this is really not looking good for Mike. I never suspect him to do something like this if he really faked the updated document. That's pretty messed up.
October 6th, Mike posted to his Instagram. Upon review, the dissertation that Solomon examined was indeed the correct document.
Whoa. It's just looking worse and worse for Mike. I wasn't expecting this. The PhD thing I didn't really care about, but it looks like he tried to fake a new, better version and lie, and yeah, that's not really a good thing.
And you shouldn't condemn an entire field based on the actions of one man, but I do think it is pretty telling how few people in the exercise science space actually took a stand here. I actually have a lot of respect for Scientific Snitch, because she's in that space. It's part of her brand and whatnot, and it's what she's into. And she was one of the few people in that space who actually called it out. Everyone else was either silent or defended it, even though, given the evidence, it was pretty indefensible.
if people don't usually call out, then it's fine. But if people call other people out, but not Mike in this situation, that isn't a good sign, at least.
Number 4, a lot of doctorates are shit. That's something I've found out over the past week.
This actually doesn't surprise me that much. Yeah, like I said in the beginning, if someone has a PhD in exercise science, it's not really a big factor of whether I'll trust that person or not.
And if someone is a doctor and they're on social media, there's a decent chance that they got that doctor for social media and it's just branding to be science based, exercise scientist critiques. To be clear, Mike is not science based. He never has been.
He's not purely science-based, like he has some opinions that are based on his experience, that is partly saying that you're science-based. I don't think any influencer is science-based, whether they know it or not. You're always interpreting the science with a bias of your own experience, whether you think you are. I think many people are like discovering things on their own from experience and then reading the science and being like, oh yeah, the science said it all along. Yeah, so my final takeaway, the whole time I didn't really care that his PhD was shit or something like that, but trying to cover it up and making a no fake PhD and pretending that's really the one, that's like that's wrong. So I guess it's turned me from a Mike fan that would recommend him to like I'm more of a neutral. If you're watching him, I'm not going to recommend you not to. And when I watch the newer videos, I don't think I'm really listening to his advice. I'm more just listening to him talk and his jokes. And maybe I'm biased because I learned so much from his old videos, but because I haven't learned much watching his new videos, I don't really know if I can recommend him anymore, especially seeing that he's willing to lie and stuff, so maybe that's what he does in his videos. But anyway, that's my take on the situation with Mike, and if you were a fan of his, you can still be, but just watch the old videos, and thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.